Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're going to be starting a very exciting tutorial. And today we're going to be creating a turn-based game, and we're going to base ourselves into the Darkest Dungeon. So we're going to kind of create a mechanic similar to this, but it's going to be a little bit of a mix it. So we're going to use a mixture of card game and this side-scrolling turn-based game to defeat the enemies. And we're going to make in 3D. Okay, so it's going to be a mixture of... Alright guys, so now we are inside the engine. Now if you press play, we have just a blank character, third person controller. We're going to have to do a couple of adjustments, but here we go. So first thing we're going to need to do, I'm going to play here on a new window, and we're going to head to the content folder. I'm going to create here a dash main. And what I'm going to do here on the main, I am going to create three new things. So the first thing I'm going to create is the player controller called BP player controller. All right, and then I'm going to create here another one called game mode called GM master turn. All right, now the next thing we are going to create, oh, not this one, we are going to create here, so we have this, and I guess we need to create a pawn, but the pawn is kind of the camera. So it's going to be a weird game because you don't really control the pawn. The pawn is the camera itself. So we're just going to go ahead here and create like, we're going to create here a character. So we're going to call this BP player, sorry, master turn player camera. Just player. Perfect. Nice. So we're going to save everything. We're going to open up the game turn. Okay, and we're going to assign the player controller to the player controller, and we're going to assign the master turn to the pawn, default pawn. Perfect. Now what am I going to do here on this game? I am going to go to the world settings, select the master turn, and I'm going to assign it right here. Compile and save, press play, and there you go. So right now you can't do anything, but that's expected. This is because we need to set up our character. So if I go here, adds to paint quite quickly, what I want to do is that I want to have one character here, and then I'm just going to put this to enemy. So I have like, this is going to be the enemy, and then the blue, it's going to be the camera. So this is what the camera can see around. So probably the camera will be static. All right, so what we are going to do next is that we're going to go back here to the player, and I'm gonna search for the BP player control, not this controller, sorry. We need to go back to the third person blueprint. I'm just gonna copy the whole logic here, just so I don't have to be, worrying about this too much. I'm gonna copy. Actually, do we need? What we could do is that instead of doing that, we can just make, I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to call this BP master character, right? Master character, we can just, yeah, character. Perfect. So I'm going to move this one to the main, and on the player turn, I'm just going to assign the player pawn right here. Where's the pawn? So game session, player state, this one here. Nice. So we're gonna save everything, and then I'm gonna delete this. All right, and now if you press play, what happens is that you have just a normal walkable character. Of course there's no walking, but at least you got possessed. You can see the character. So now what we need to do is that we need to create some kind of a system where all the characters, they are located on the same place. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this a little bit. So I am, what's this? This is the post-processing volume. I'm just going to put it right here. So this is going to be the player pawn controller, right? I'm going to do a 90 degrees. So you press play, you are always facing that way. Now the next thing we are going to do here, I'm going to duplicate the master character. I'm going to call this BP main player camera, right? And now I am going to assign this to the main player camera, which is going to be, let's say, right here. Perfect. And now I'm gonna open up here a new folder. Sorry, I'm gonna call this player, or I can just call a folder called game. And I'm just gonna move everything but not the character. Just gonna move all the stuff here, because this is just the core of the game. And then we're gonna have enemies and all sorts of characters that you are gonna be able to see. Now, so if I press play, I can see, and I'm facing that direction. So I can just put a little bit back. So I'm just gonna add, for example, this, right? And now I can see the character. Perfect. Now, open up the game. Next thing we need to do here is that I think we need to first, we don't need about the mesh, we don't need any of this stuff. And I think we can add a fly character or floating pawn movement. Yes. So then we can add a float pawn movement. And I think on the capsule, simulate physics. I don't think we need that, which is good. So if I press play, will that work? It does work, which is something that I don't want. Simulate physics. So let me just enable visible. That's all fine. Enable gravity false. I don't want gravity because this is going to be like a floating camera. Linear dragging, constraints, lock position, lock rotation. I think we can do the lock. Let me double check. So gravity index. We can add the character. We can add this visible hidden in game. And I think that's it. That's all we're going to do. So now I'm just going to set up the scene here. So I'm just going to make sure it starts like that. Now what I'm going to do for the camera, right? I'm going to do the camera something like that. Sorry, this one here. And I guess we can, just going to move it up. Just something like that. Let's just see how does it look. Does it look good? Yeah, I think it looks quite cool, right? Looks like more of a scene. Now what we can do is just that we're going to place our characters here. And then we're going to start to mess around with the camera. So I'm just going to place, let's say, 2 heroes here. And then I'm going to place this one facing this direction. And we're going to copy and paste this one here. So we're going to press play. And now we have, they are like enemies. Now for the characters that are enemy, what we are going to do here, I'm just going to add it then, right? We could actually add, let me double check. So we can maybe create a new folder called characters. Okay. Gonna drag and drop this one here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a child. I'm gonna call this BP enemy, right? And then we can just create here a folder called characters. And I'm just gonna drag and drop this one here. And I'm gonna create another child called BP ally. Something like that, you know, or friend. The reason why I did this silly names and stuff is just, I'll show you. So I can do this thing. So I can, for example, now delete all this stuff, right? Now I can open up here the enemy, for example, on my other screen. And I can just search whatever is this. This is inside the game engine. What is this? That's fine. So what I can do, I can, let's open up how is the material. How's the M mannequin? Do I have any way of setting this color up? There is. So, okay. Is there a way we can actually change this from there? Yeah, perfect. We have the base color, global parameters. So base texture 2D. I mean, we could use a different color, I guess. So for the enemy, I am just gonna make it so we know that's a difference, right? Just gonna add a sphere. I know this is very silly, but I just want to make sure that we know which one is the enemy, right? And then after we work out how we're gonna improve this. So I'm gonna search for collision, okay? And we're gonna do no collision. Compile and save. I'm gonna close all the stuff. go back to the content, go back to the characters again, and then we're going to set up here our enemy. So this is the ally, as we know. And now we're going to add here the friendly, or the enemy, sorry. I'm going to copy and paste and add like this. Perfect. Now we're going to press and play, and that's it. Now, so the next thing we need to figure out is our camera. So what I want to do is that I want our camera to have like some kind of a dynamic movement. So I want to be able to move to near to the character and things like that. So for example, if I click on a character, or if the character is selected, the camera moves to it, and then otherwise it goes back to the original position, something like this, because it's going to be like mainly a mechanic in our game. So this is going to be doing on the next part of the series. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next one.